Hello folks, it's Charlie in Westeros here, and I am back at long last with another Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire themed video. And today I will be giving you guys a short, spoiler-free review of the recently re-released short story, The Ice Dragon by George R.R. Martin. If you are hoping for a spoiler-friendly video of the same topic, fear not, I will be posting a discussion with Bilal about all things concerning The Ice Dragon and its potential presence in A Song of Ice and Fire. A few last things before I jump onto the topic of this video. First, I must apologize for my long absence. Second, I really appreciate the positive messages so many of you guys have been giving me on my social media sites regarding my YouTube videos. And third, I do have a few comments regarding my upcoming videos and episode reviews for Season 5 of Game of Thrones at the end of this video. But first, of course, I want to discuss the topic at hand. So, admittedly, The Ice Dragon is one of those short stories set in the same universe as A Song of Ice and Fire that I've always kind of overlooked or ignored. And I guess it's kind of stupid of me to do that because I never really grasped that it was truly intended to be set in the same universe as the one we've come to love from the book series and the TV series. However, one of the first things that are stated in the Ice Dragon book is, indeed, it was meant to take place in the same world as Westeros and Essos, and as such, we can safely say that the Ice Dragon is canon to the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. Irrespective of that, I went out and got the book a few months ago, and with Game of Thrones coming back to TV in a couple of days now, I figured, why not reintroduce myself to this topic by discussing the Ice Dragon topic. So I think the first thing I noted when I saw this book was the beautiful artwork and the pretty sizable font writing. The artwork itself is almost as impressive as the kind found in the World of Ice and Fire book, and this art was done by Luis Royo, so if you are a fan of any art related to the A Song of Ice and Fire series, then I think that is more than enough incentive to go out and get this book, or if you're a fan of the artist himself, of course, as it actually even comes with a little cool fold-up poster, as you can see right here. Don't know if that's clear enough. Looks clear enough for me. However, I must say that when you take a quick look at the book itself, which I do not have, I lent it to Bilal so he could read, but when you do take a quick look at the book, if you do have it in your hands, when you have it in your hands, it reminded me a lot of some of the kids' books that my parents would read to me as a child, given that the relatively juvenile look the book has is kind of funny, since I always assumed that this was George R. R. Martin's attempt at a kid's book, if that makes any sense. And I guess in a really strange sense it is his attempt at a kid's book. However, the content is not something I would say is really suited for kids that aren't yet in their early teens, since there is some fairly graphic and violent stuff that goes on in this story, as expected from any George R. R. Martin book. Nonetheless, it is nowhere near as bloody as, or perhaps as horrifying is a better word, as the Song of Ice and Fire series, or more of the other stories that are set in the same universe as A Song of Ice and Fire, like The Princess and the Queen, or The Rogue Prince, or even the Tales of Dunk and Egg, I would argue. So this tale is definitely a safer bet to read than those ones if you aren't big into the violence of those stories, but still somehow managed to love Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. Also, I think it's important to state that if you were not a fan of the World of Ice and Fire because of the lack of an engaging storyline in that book and the fact that it read more like a history textbook, then fear not, because The Ice Dragon is indeed just one story with only one point of view. Without giving too much away, it seemed to be set immediately after the events known to us as the Long Night, or that time when the White Walkers apparently first showed up in the world. The story follows the very early childhood of a rather strange little girl named Adara and her interactions and encounters with a greatly feared ice dragon, and the adventures which then ensue with this ice dragon. Again, the story itself is very short. I think I read it myself within about half an hour maybe. And it is very easy to follow as well, so like I said, children would technically have no problem reading this, but again, I do not know if it is the most appropriate book for young children, but still, if you do have a young teen at home, or if you want to get him or her more intrigued or interested in eventually reading The Song of Ice and Fire, or even if you're maybe learning English and know it at an early intermediate level, I do think The Ice Dragon is a good place to start if you are a fan of Game of Thrones. I do remember reading the first comic of the Game of Thrones series actually in Polish to improve my own language skills there, so hey, Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire can come in handy in that sense. Unless you want to learn Dothraki, in which case I would buy this book. Enough plugging for Game of Thrones stuff. All kidding aside, I do think this book, The Ice Dragon, is really well worth reading, especially if you are in love with Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. Moreover, there are quite a few ideas or topics dealt with in this book that really make one's theory mills spin like crazy. I'm sure many have realized that there are a number of theory videos out there already discussing whether or not an ice dragon will make an appearance in A Song of Ice and Fire, and that is certainly a topic I intend to discuss. However, that is for my next video with Bilal, and I will be discussing The Ice Dragon, the book itself, in greater depth, with a lot more spoiler-friendly goodness. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you do have any questions you would like to ask, either dealing with this book, or maybe you have a theory or thought, then by all means, type away in the comment section below, and I will certainly try to deal with them in our next discussion video on The Ice Dragon. Now, onto the next order of business before I end this video. Normally I review the Game of Thrones episodes without any spoilers at all, like I did for Season 3 and 4 when they aired. However, I have a few qualms with doing this season because, well, firstly, I will be continuing the spoiler-friendly discussions with the Small Council on James Johnson's channel, as per usual. Secondly, this season, well, a lot of the events from the show have caught up to the books, and a lot of other content in the show has been or will be changed, which in a sense sort of defeats the purpose of a spoiler-free review, since even though there is some content from the books that hasn't been revealed yet in the show, a lot of the storylines are on par with their equivalents in the books. Thirdly, there are a lot of Game of Thrones reviewers out there already as well, and there is only so much I feel I can really contribute to my own spoiler-free reviews without just overlapping with what I have to say on my spoiler-friendly review days, and of course, without overlapping on what a lot of other Game of Thrones reviewers also have to say. So, my point with all that said, I have thought about doing Game of Thrones reviews still. However, I was thinking about doing them in French, since I have not seen any other French Game of Thrones reviewers out there. So, I don't know how many Francophones or French speakers or French learners maybe are out there who watch my videos and would be interested in this new format for my videos. But if you have a thought on the matter, please do let me know if you'd be interested in watching those videos, or if you have any friends who speak French or, only know French by chance that would want to watch those kind of videos. It'd be really helpful to get an idea if this is an idea that would appeal to a French audience in general. Otherwise, however, I do have a slew of other videos that I will be releasing, both spoiler-friendly and spoiler-free, so fear not, my channel is far from dead and far from becoming just French videos. Anyway, I guess that's all for now, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, and of course, stay tuned for my upcoming videos, and I will see you all very, very soon.